So hi everyone, this talk's title is Games are the Secret Weapon. Before we begin, organizers, I'm by no means an interior designer, but placing this stage in the middle of the room is a very unorthodox approach to design. I feel like Bono in a charity club. What is it? Okay, let's continue. I want to start by talking to you, telling you a story that happened to me a few years back, when I was an immigration officer on the borders of my dystopian country. So I was looking at this woman in front of me. She was 45 years old, more or less. She was very weary, tired, she was anxious. I knew that she was about to come because her husband, that just passed through, told me that she was coming and asked me to let her in. Alas, she did not have a valid entry permit. Now, if I would have let her in, I would get caught, get penalized, I would not be able to pay my bills or feed my child. He was sick at the time. If I would detain her, she would have never seen her husband again and probably get assassinated in her own country. What do I do? What do I do? Yes. What do I do? What? So, I remember staring at the screen, thinking, wow, games have come a long way to have me facing these kinds of dilemmas. This was not reality, this was a game that I was playing called Papers, Please. Who knows this game here? Yeah, man, okay, like a few people. Okay, we'll get you into being gamers by the end of the talk, hopefully. This game released in 2013 was one of these genre-defining games. A game that really blew my mind, right? I mean, these morals, usually when we think about games, words that come to mind are entertainment or maybe fun and kids, maybe addiction, okay? But we often forget a very unique virtue of games. Games allow us to be other people. They allow us to feel and see the world in their eyes. So, did you ever want to feel like an immigration officer? Did you ever want to feel like a fashionista, like a crazy rich person, like a gangster, like a Nazi? If you're interested in the latter, I really recommend you on this game. Who knows this game? Okay, so for those who don't know this game, this is a board game, a party game for 5 to 9 people, set up in Germany circa 1930. And in this game, players divide to 3 groups. The liberals, who are the majority, opposed by the fascists, and Hitler, whose identity is secret to them. Okay? So the liberals win the game if they find the secret Hitler. The fascists win the game if the secret Hitler is nominated chancellor. Now, since elections in this game are democratic, you may ask yourself, how can Hitler be nominated chancellor? But the fact of the matter is that since the liberals do not know who the fascists are, this gives the fascists a tremendous advantage. Now, the play experience in this game is incredible. Playing a liberal in this game, you will be with your back to the wall, attacked by all directions. You will not be able to trust your fellow members because you don't know who they are. If you are a fascist, you're having ball. I mean, you do what's in your power to disguise your true self. You will blame others. You will come up with news, fake news, innuendos, blame others. Eventually, you will come to power and bend the rules to fit your needs. So this is really, when growing up in Israel, the Holocaust is a big thing, okay? It's a traumatic event, and from birth, we are taught about it. And I was asking myself this question a lot. How did Hitler come to power? How did it happen? I mean, in Germany, they're nice people. So this game provides an answer, some kind of an answer. It's not a textual answer. You actually get to feel how it is. Games allow you to be other people. Games allow you to feel what other people feel. This is a forum about humor, and I think that I've been fairly depressing by that point, so I want to tell you a little funny story about games and what they make you do when you're portraying other people. So this is a true story that happened to me a while back. I was working in this video website, and I befriended this woman who worked for marketing in the marketing department, who started showing up to work increasingly late. So, and she had also these, black things around the eyes. So I said, hey, Lital, what's up? Is everything okay? And she kind of did not want to tell me what's happening or what the presentation went. You figure it out. So eventually told me, look, for the past 2 weeks, I've been waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning so I could harvest my field of corn. I say, what? Because, okay, you may not know how Israel looks like. Some may think it's a desert, but we live in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is an urban city. We do not have cornfields. So apparently she was playing this game, Farmville, that was popular at the time. And if she would have not wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the crops would die, and her Facebook friends would think that she is a terrible person. Eventually, by the way, she bought the autoproper, which kind of resolved the problem because she didn't have to wake up anymore. But this is really funny. I mean, what games can make us do, how games can make us act. And I took this notion of being someone else and telling players of what to do when I designed my first satirical political game. So I had an opportunity, we have plenty of opportunities for games like this in Israel. And there was this parliament member who once said, my wife is not racist, a promising start, right? Now, if you played Secret Hitler, you know this is exactly how you do. I'm not racist, but you are. So, his wife is not racist, but the last thing she wants to do after giving birth is to be in the same room with Arabs. In other words, and he continued, I will not repeat like the words, but I was like, man, you've missed a few history lessons. I'm gonna fill the gaps. So I called a few friends of mine, and together we came up with this game in which you are helping this parliament member, now dressed as a doctor, to do the separation in the delivery room. How do you do that? Ideas pop up, Jews go right, of course, and Arabs would go left. So how would you do that? Ideas pop up on screen. And by the picture, of course, by the surname, by the name or other details on the card, you decide whether she would go right or she would go left. Rings a bell, is it? Where are all the Germans? Okay. So let me show you a little bit how this actually worked. Could you press play? Yeah, so the thing about this game that it's a fun game. I mean, it has fun like jokes in it, nice graphics, it has music in it, and it kind of takes away from the notion that what you're doing is horrendous. Okay, this is horrible, and this is, I think, what political figures are doing. I mean, they're all bells and whistles, and we sometimes neglect to see that what they say is really, really terrible. And playing this game, eventually, this disgusting feeling creeps up on you, and you don't feel too good about yourself playing this game, which was our intent. And this game was a little bit viral in Israel, and we got encouraged and said, okay, we're going to take on the world now. And around that time, Trump was running for presidency, and internet became ridiculous. And we said, okay, let's contribute to this fire. And we came up with this game called Trump's World. Now, Trump's World is like an amusement park. Yeah, sure. It's like an amusement park filled with terrible, terrible mini games. You could, for example, toss a Mexican. This is how the game looks like. And you can grab a Muslim. And this is how the game looked like. And you could whack abortion. Yeah, it's like a whack-a-mole, but you have to whack women who had abortion. And eventually, based on your performance, Trump would tell you whether you are a Democrat or an American. So these were the two options. And we posted this game, and this game went viral for all wrong reasons. I mean, it got duplicated, and we found it in 20, 30 different websites. And the comments were like, "This game is racist, I love it." And I'm like, oh no, this was not our intent. And sometimes it's a very thin line between a satirical joke, between just a racist game. And I think the line was really blurred at this point. But because we gained a little popularity, I was invited to talk and blur my shit in like interviews and stuff. And they asked me whether I think that our games can change anything. And I said, yeah, of course not. I mean, these are just stupid games, right? However, games, they have been agent for change for years, and they will be in the future. Sports are the prime example, okay? Think about the Olympics in ancient Greece. People from all over the ancient world participated in, and they put their conflict aside until the games were over. And also, right now in our times, this is what's happening. Well, for most people, not for this guy. This is Said Malai. This is a picture taken after he was told to intentionally lose the semifinals in the World Championship because he was about to meet the Israeli fighter there at the finals. And this was a devastating moment for this guy. I mean, really, the career, everything he worked for, only to be bashed by the Iranian regime. And we are so lucky that video games, we just don't have this shit. Okay, we don't have borders in video games. This is a screenshot from my telephone, a game called Clash Royale. It's a PvP multiplayer game where Israelis and Iranians joyfully bash each other without the ever-seeing eye of the Ayatollah watching and saying who can play, who cannot. This is me playing against Iran boy. I don't know, but I think he's from Iran. And I completely trashed the guy, although he was level 10 and I was level 7, but this is also another talk maybe. So my last slide, maybe the last idea I want to leave you with is this gun. Does anybody recognize this gun? The name of the other game is Clash Royale. And I have like an hour and a half talk only about Clash Royale. We'll take it outside. So this is the weapon from a movie called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and this is the weapon that all the characters are after, because this is the point of view gun. Its targets feel whatever the holder is feeling. Okay, this is like an empathy gun, and I think that games are this weapon. Games can let us be other people. They can let us feel what other people feel. Games, my friend, are the secret weapon for change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Do you have time? I think we have time maybe for a question or two.
I have an appointment and I gotta go now.
I know you can talk and talk. I've heard hours. But does anybody have a quick question?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Hi, I'm from Costa Rica. My name is Ernesto. And after that situation happened with the Trump game, where you found the people like not making the same interpretation that you envisioned, how would you make that same video game today so that that wouldn't happen? Because I mean, it's a very fine line to be that Hitchhiker to the Galaxy weapon, because many times people, if you're playing with subjects that are racism or things like that, sometimes people who are racist respond like, oh my god, I love this, it's like an orgasm, like an eye-gasm. And so how would you make that thing differently today so that that wouldn't happen? Like what precautions or lessons did you learn to, I don't know, to cater more strictly maybe the message of the video game?
I would not make this game. Next question?
That's no elaboration?
No, I just wouldn't make it. It's not a
Because
good
you-
game, and I just inserted the slide just a second ago because I felt that this was a very depressing talk, and I wanted to lift it up a little bit after lunch.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
No.
All right. We got one more question.
Hi, Anka here. Have you ever thought of creating games for doing something good, for changing the society, or fundraising, or have you been approached by any international institutions to help them doing that?
Yes, I have. Actually, I showed this game online during lunch. I've made a game for a recycling company in Israel. We are Neanderthals in Israel. We don't know how to recycle. So we made a game about it. It's a very fun game, funny game. And we actually achieved to increase the right packages in the right bins by 3%, which is a huge change. I didn't talk about this because it's kind of a political, but this is the thing that I'm doing. And now in my focus is really the donations, NGOs that I like. And because games can really drive a true change. Awesome. Meet me later, guys.
Okay. Thank you again.